We love you. Chris Watts and his interview, the confession. I'm just going to touch bases on the phone and the ring. I'm just going to talk a little about that, which I listened to it again. As we know, the phone was found in the couch. And Chris said he threw it there. He threw it there. But that's not really true, is it? Because how would it land at the back of the couch? You know, you kind of have to hide it. You have to kind of push it down there. And that's where it was found. It was not found directly on top of the couch. So he says he threw it on there. That is not true. It cannot be true. He hid it there. That's what he did. But he couldn't say he hid it there at first until the investigators asked him why. And all this time he is saying he can't remember stuff and why he did stuff. But then he answers why. Because he said he can't remember a lot of stuff, what was happening. He didn't have a plan. Nope, he didn't have a plan. But really, he did have a plan. See, he's lying again. These half-truths that he's telling. He's not telling the whole truth, but he's not really telling lies. It's a puzzle you have to put together because he talks in riddles. He said if he had planned this, I would have taken it out to the field with me. If I had planned this, I would have taken the phone and everything out with me. Why? Why would you do that? The phone would lead the investigators to the site, wouldn't they? So that is a big fat lie. You didn't take your phone because it has GPS on it. And they would know where she was. Oh, that's a big fat lie. So, he hid the phone. That's what he did. Now, we'll talk about the ring a minute, because I was listening about the ring, because I couldn't make out, what him say, the things he said in the past about the ring, and the things he was saying now about the ring. The ring. At first, he kind of states the ring was on the table. The ring was on the table. And maybe, this is what he says. Chris says, maybe she wanted a divorce. And maybe she didn't want to fix things. That's why her ring was on the table. The one next to her bed. And then I've heard that she always takes her ring off at night. But I don't think that's the case. Because he was thinking in his little head that the reason why she took her ring off is because she didn't really want to fix things. See, he's a hypocrite, isn't he? He's just a hypocrite. He's lying again. He's lying again. The reason why the ring was put on the side of the table is because he put it there. Chris Watts put that ring on the side of the table because if anybody came to the house, it would look like she had run off. Yes, she had run off, took her ring off, and there you go. She must want a divorce. Yeah, guys. She must want a divorce because she threw away her phone, and her lifeline, that was her lifeline, and she threw away her ring and put it on the side. We finished. We are no longer married, and I want a divorce. Oh, yeah. That was why the ring was on the table. But he also states in between, he can't remember what happened that morning. He can't remember, he don't know why it was on the side. I mean, he is saying that too. He's contradicting himself. He's back and forth on a few things. And so he says that he didn't think she wanted to fix things. She wanted divorce. But after that, I guess when the investigators asked him, they go back and forth on the ring a little bit. And then they ask him again about the ring. And he was asked about why the ring was taken off. And Chris Watts said he took it off. He took the ring off. See, guys? First of all, she took it off. And then it was on the side because it looked like, you know, if anybody came here, that she had run off. That's his brain thinking that way. But anyway, guys, Chris Watts was the one that took the ring off. And the only way he got that ring off was she was dead. He took the ring off his dead wife's body. Now, why did he take the ring off? Why was he wasn't thinking, he wasn't in his right mind, remember? He doesn't remember killing her and why. You know, he remembers having his hands around her. And we don't know if she's facing up or facing down at this time, but I believe she was facing down. I really do. This is why she didn't fight back, and he doesn't know what her face was. You know, how she was looking like, because he never see her face. And he never did say he covered her face up. So he's lying about that. In my opinion, that is. He's lying about the ring. He took the ring off for a reason, but he says he wasn't thinking. He didn't know what was going on that morning. He doesn't even know why he killed her. You know, he stated that. And then contradicts himself and says something else. And that's what he does there. And this shows that he's lying. He's still lying. The detectives ask, "Oh, why did you do that?" And he just goes on about, I think she wanted a divorce and she didn't want to fix things. But remember, guys, he said he wanted a divorce. He said he was getting separated. He told that to NK. He kept on telling her he's going to get divorced, he's going to get divorced. But we know he never filed for a divorce, and nor did she. So why was she worried if she didn't want to fix things anymore? Why was he so worried about that? I think she told him she wanted a divorce. I think so. And he was never going to get a divorce from her. He was never. Like he said, he never told her about the affair. He never told her about the affair that morning. But you know, Shannon had her, you know, like any other woman. What's wrong with him? He must be having an affair or something. And she has stated that in text to her friends. So she was thinking something was up like that. But she couldn't believe it because she didn't think he was that kind of man. He obviously hasn't strayed before or acted this way before. So she didn't know what was going on. And that was her thinking that he was having an affair. So we'll never know what he said that morning. We're not going to know what was said. But something was said, and we're not sure what happened. But you know what? The detectives have finally said, you know, about 4:26 or so, there was a lot of activity going on in that home. Now remember, they said there was no activity up and down the stairs. This was when Chris Watts said he went downstairs this was when Chris Watts said that he went downstairs to get ready for work around 4:30 in the morning, the very first time. And they said that couldn't happen because there was no activity. Well, there was some activity, because now I don't know where he gets the activity from. Did he have Shannon's phone and watch in his pocket? Or was it his phone? Because there is some activity around 4:26. So I believe Chris Watts was telling the truth when he said about 4:30 when he got up. There was some activity, and I believe this is when it happened. Because there's no way it could happen at 5 o'clock. There was just too much work to be done to, do all what he did. He needed a little bit of time because, remember guys, he said he was choking the life out of her for 15 to 20 minutes. Then he had to sort Bella out. Then he had to wrap her up. Then he had to get her down the stairs. And, of course, he had to fix his lunch. So, I'll say about 4 o'clock or so, because remember, guys, he'd already got ready for work. He also was ready for work and had made his lunch. So, there is no way that happened at 5 o'clock. And so it kind of goes on like that. And then they ask him, were you in the basement? And he says he doesn't remember being in the basement and working out. They didn't ask him if he was working out in the basement. They asked him, were you in the basement? And then he says he don't remember working out, but he doesn't really say if he was in the basement. And they ask him that because the basement door was open. And why was the basement door open? Like, they keep the basement door closed because of the kids. Do they always keep the basement door open, or is it always closed? So they asked him that a question, and we really didn't get a straight answer to why the basement door was open, because Chris said there was so much going on he don't remember, because he lost his mind. Remember that, guys? He had lost his mind. And, when he was choking the life out of his wife, somebody wouldn't let him take his hands off her neck. So, and they said to him, oh, did you make lunch? You go to the kitchen? And he says, oh yeah, I made my lunch for work. Yeah, I made my lunch for work. But funny how he can remember making his lunch. The crazy things you remember, huh? You don't know why you choked the life out of your wife. You don't know why you killed your children. But you remember making a stupid lunch. Now, if all this was going on, he didn't have a plan. He said he didn't have a plan. Well, the last thing that I'd be thinking of was to make my lunch. Yes, guys. Now, would that be your last thought? Making something to eat? Oh, yeah. That was Chris Watts. He had to make his lunch between, I'm not sure what time he made his lunch, but he had to make his lunch, and he had his kids seeing what they saw. We're not actually sure if he killed Cece in her bed. The reason is, maybe he did kill her, and he didn't kill her at the site. I'm not sure. The reason is, Bella was Bella see everything, but he was finding it very hard to kill her. This is why she may have been last and he left it to the last minute. Because Chris Watts made a statement one time, and I'm not sure if it's in the report, but Nicole was certainly made that statement in her audio, her video. I don't know which one she made it in. She said she was talking to Chris, must have been the Monday or something, and said he had to wash the sheets because they smelled. Now, I can't get that out of my head. Okay, why would they smell? Because you killed your daughter in the bed, and she probably peed herself, or, you know, and she may have been dead longer than she was for them to smell. No, that's just my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there because they made that statement because the sheets smelled, and he's never smelled nothing like that before. No, because he's never smelled death before. That's why I'm thinking that he really did kill Cece first, and it may not have happened the way he said. But Bella may have. I'm not sure. Bella may have been alive still, and that part may be true. So I just can't get over when that statement was made about the sheets smelling so bad. Well, then she had to been killed earlier. And then another thing I'm thinking is, I think Shanann might have checked on her and found her dead. And this is where the emotional conversation came in, and she was crying and tears coming down her face and her mascara ran. Could have happened that way. She was, like Chris said, you see her on the baby monitor, and she was choking, strangling, whatever you want to use. But I think she may have gone in there and was shaking her kid. She was shaking her to wake her up. Wake up, wake up. And that's a theory of mine that could have happened because he has stated that. And if you reverse it, it just may well have happened that way, but it was him doing it, not her. So that's just something to think about, in my opinion, with his lies. And so we talk about that. So we talked about the ring, and we talked about, you know, the deaths. And we talked about him making his lunch. Now, we know on the video the time he backed his truck up. I'm not sure what time he did really leave the house, because of the video it was motion detected, and he backed it up, so we don't see absolutely everything going on. And then he pulls his truck forward, and he doesn't leave right away. So I'm not sure what time he left. It could have been 5:45, 10 to 6, maybe something like that. I'm not sure, but he didn't leave at 5:30. He was backing his truck up. But even so, as we see Chris Watts backing his truck up and in and out of his truck, you know, both sides of the truck, he didn't look like he was in a hurry. He didn't look like he was sweating it. He didn't look like he was a murderer. He didn't acting like he just murdered somebody. He wasn't running, wasn't in a hurry. It didn't look like that. I mean, he was just doing normal stuff, right? He was trying to figure out where to put that gas can. That gas can. Now, he took it out, he put it in, he took it out. I don't know how many times, what the hell he was doing with that gas can. Now, I don't think that gas can had any fuel in it. I don't think so, because I think it might be dangerous to carry flammables in the back of the truck. The reason why the gas can, when you go to your work site, you got to be very careful, and safety issue. So that's why I'm thinking There was no gas in it, and he didn't stop at a gas station and fill it up, as far as I know. Now, we all know he said this and said that about killing himself, but he wasn't going to kill himself. Oh, I don't have a gun. I don't even know how to use a gun. I've never been hunting. Well, you don't have to go hunting to know how to use a gun, okay? Many people never been hunting neither and still know how to use a gun. But he didn't have a gun. And then he says, well, this and that, blowing the place up. But he couldn't do that because it would make a mess. He'd blow the whole town up, kind of thing. And especially, he didn't want his friends and people he knew getting hurt. Stuff like that. But yeah, Chris Watts wasn't thinking that day because he lost his mind, remember? But he was worrying about the stupidest things. He wasn't worried about his daughter that both his little kids, he just threw in the tank. He wasn't worried about, oh my God, is somebody going to find them one day? Is somebody going to find them one day? Or, oh my God, is somebody going to find my wife's body buried in a shallow grave? No, he don't seem to be worried about that one. Now, he was asked at one time, were you planning on going back? Because we know that site isn't, I don't know, it's not very busy. I don't know how busy one goes to that site, but I think it was pretty busy because the next day there was somebody else there doing something with the water or something. So there's another visitor. But nobody was planning on taking a walk into the fields. But that might not be true because guess what? Chris Watts took a walk in the fields and took a dump and a piss. And lots of others do that too. So never say never. But he says he didn't really have plans on going back there. Really? You're such a liar. You did a crappy job burying your wife. She wasn't even buried. You just dug a shallow grave and dumped her there. You were going back. We don't know when, what your plans were, but I certainly believe that he was going back there the next day. Or he may have gone back there later if he wasn't called out back home by the police and by her friend Nicole. Who knows what he was going to do later on? We don't know what he was going to do. Dig a bigger grave? Maybe. Dig a bigger grave. So, I'm just touching on the phone in the ring. So, that's what he did. He took the ring from his dead wife's body. She never took it off at all. He was lying about that. First of all, he said he didn't take it off. It was on the side, but then he said he did take it off. And that's the part that I discussed today. And what do you think, guys? Let's have a little discussion on this part of the case and your thoughts of what you really think what happened and what time it really went down, because he's still lying. He's still lying. And apparently he didn't know they were coming. He didn't know the detectives were coming to talk to him. But I still find that very odd because, you know, he's made his plea of guilty. Case is over. Case is over. And they normally have to ask permission to see somebody in prison to talk just generally about this case, just to ask a few questions, because basically it wasn't no urgency, breaking news, you know, we've arrested NK or nothing like that. And you would think you would need permission, but I guess they didn't need permission. And yes, he didn't know they were coming. And he said he would talk to him anyway. And it's nice to see you. Long time no see. And Chris Watts didn't have time to react to a plan of what he was saying. But believe me, guys, this man had been thinking of what he would say if anybody was to come to visit him, because this is his story. This is his confession. So he was thinking about it. If you think about it, he did have a plan. And he also said, you know, the Lord and all this and the other, and inmates talking to him. Confess, confess. Yeah, they wanted you to confess, you idiot, because they want the truth out. They want the truth out, and so they know the truth. Now they know the truth. Now they know the truth, and now he's in trouble. He's in trouble. But he did have a plan. He had a plan of what he was going to tell them if they ever came to visit. So, that's my opinion, guys. So, let's have a discussion and your thoughts, and thank you for stopping by.